We've just got back from our first camping trip as a family and we just had the best time. You know when you haven't done something before and you think, well, this could go like either way. It was like the unknown, but we had the best time. We went with a group of friends. The kids just love being able to wake up in the morning and go run out of the tent and find their friends. Yeah, we loved it. So now, as the seasoned camper that I am, I thought I would share with you my top 10 tips, having now experienced it myself, and the things that I think really help when you're camping with kids. Put the kids to work. The second you arrive on site, give them a job, give them something to do so that they're not bored waiting for the tent to go up and running around making mischief. If you give them a job, kids love being given a job to do and a responsibility, so make the most of it. Even the littlest ones, Aiden's only 3 and he went round when we were taking the tent down and he was collecting up pegs. Just small jobs that give them something to keep them occupied and feel like they're part of the whole camping experience. Set out some camping rules. Now this is something you could even do before you even go camping. You could sit down at home and do it together. Just write a list of rules that you're all going to stick to when you're camping. So you could all even contribute one to the list. So mine would be no shoes in the tent, because the second you start wearing your shoes in and bringing grass and wet, muddy footprints into the tent, then it becomes more difficult to relax and enjoy the space that you're in. So shoes, live outside underneath the little awning bit. That was my biggest rule. You might want to set rules about whether or not they're allowed screen time on iPads and things. We took ours with us, but I didn't want them to use it very often. Obviously you're outside for a reason and you want them to enjoy that. So when it rained, they all kind of congregated for an hour or so just till the worst of the rain passed, and then they were back outside running around. Storage, storage, storage. I knew that I didn't want our tent to be a wash with stuff. I wanted everything to have a place. If you're going to be living and existing and sleeping all underneath this one space, it was really important to me to make sure that everything had a place of sorts that we could put it, so that there wasn't just stuff strewn everywhere. So I picked up from, I think it was from B&M Bargains or Home Bargains or a place like that, one of those cheap plastic chest of drawers. I think it had 4 plastic pull-out drawers, and I just filled that. I made sure to pack quite light so we didn't have that many clothes anyway. So everything fitted in there. Whatever didn't fit in there I could just pile neatly on top, and that was a godsend. So whenever the kids left their pyjamas out on the floor, I just folded them up quickly, put them in the relevant drawer, close the drawer, done. Plan simple meals. I got quite caught up in looking on Pinterest at easy camping meals. I just had so much to organise before we went that I just thought to myself, why am I doing that? Okay, so it might be really cool to make a giant pot of chili con carne while we're away and we can all eat it around the campfire, and it's a nice idea, but I thought for our first trip especially, just keep things simple. It's not going to kill us if the kids just eat burgers and hot dogs for a weekend. It means that preparation before we go is simple. It's easy when we're there. Dan can cook most of the stuff, so I don't have to even get involved in the cooking for the weekend, which is brilliant. And yeah, just keep it simple. Whatever you do decide to eat while you're camping, try to prep as much as you can before you go. It'll make life so much easier when you're there. So if you want to have some salads and things to go with your burgers, make up as much of it as you can beforehand and take it in a Tupperware container, and think about breakfasts and what you're going to need. We actually had a really good shop on site in the campsite we stayed at, so which I knew about beforehand, so I could take minimal stuff maybe for one night and the following morning, and then pick up the rest when we were there, which made life really easy. I've never seen kids get so excited about marshmallows on a stick as they did when we went camping. They just could not wait to toast the marshmallows. Had to keep kind of holding them back until the campfire was going. But it's such a nice thing to do with the kids when you're away, and we all sat around the fire and helped them to toast their marshmallows, and they were just so happy. For an easy camping alternative, instead of having to put a biscuit, chocolate and a marshmallow, I just use chocolate digestives so that they can put their toasted marshmallow on top, pop another one on top of that, make a sandwich, and they're done. Don't forget to pack games for the kids and for you to play as a family. We took a really cheap cricket set, I think it cost a couple of pounds, and we had so much fun playing with that. And also just a football, and I think one of our friends bought one of those swing ball sets, and we went down to the beach and played capture the flag, which I made a video on actually, which I'll link for you to have a watch. But that was all we had to do was make 2 flags out of some scraps of material and 2 sticks, and we spent almost a whole afternoon trekking our way down to the beach for this game and setting it out and playing it. So cheap, so simple, and the kids loved it. I also picked up a packet of glow sticks really cheaply before we went, I think from the pound shop, and they all had glow stick lightsaber battles once it got dark, and they had such a good time doing that. So don't be afraid to be a bit creative. It doesn't have to be games that are, you know, traditional team games. Think outside the box a little bit. Take some cheap fairy lights to wind around the guide ropes of your tent, because as my husband would agree, it can be difficult to spot those in the dark. And he it was actually one of the most amusing moments of the whole camping trip and kept us all laughing for a few hours. But he did spectacularly go splat in the dark whilst taking one of the kids to the toilet because he didn't see the guide ropes. And we had fairy lights around our tent, he just didn't wind them around this particular rope. I think next time he might. Don't forget to take wet wipes, they'll save your life. Seriously, I use them for everything. I use them for everything at home anyway. Sticky marshmallow hands and all that business. But also wet wipes are great for just kind of spot cleaning the tent if somebody spilt a drink or whatever. Wet wipes are a godsend. You knew that anyway. And the last tip is bring extra bedding. There's something really comforting about snuggling under a duvet. The kids all had sleeping bags and blankets over them, and we had sleeping bags and this spare duvet, and it just felt really homely and cozy, and none of us got cold once. I really hope those tips have been helpful if you're planning a family camping trip. That's really hard to say. If you're planning a family camping trip, I hope they've been helpful tips for you. Some of them are probably pretty obvious, and if you camp a lot, you're probably thinking, well, yes, and I could add a million more to those. So please leave them in the comment section below, because we're planning to go again in another couple of weeks, and I'd love all the tips and advice I can get. If you haven't already seen my vlog from our camping trip, I'll link it below for you. We really had the best time, and I can't wait to go again. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you next time.